Hello and welcome to the review for the test. As promised, I told you that I would do a video to help you out, to help you study for the test as you're at home tonight. Hopefully not stressing about the test because you're going to do fine, but trying to get you ready for the test. So here we go. The first thing is, let me tell you a little bit about what the test structure is going to look like. It's going to be 20 multiple choice questions. The short answer and or cue part will be on Monday, so don't stress about that yet. We'll talk about that tomorrow after the test. So there's 20 multiple choice, so let me run down and tell you what you need to know. Okay, what you need to know for the test is you need to know about domestication. Why did those hominids domesticate? Those hominids domesticated because they knew that those animals in the wild could be used to help meet their needs. So that's domestication. Domestication, farming, all that is the reason why they shifted from hunters and gatherers to farmers. Okay, so you need to know that. Also, you need to know about the type of person or the person that studies people's culture and people's way of life. Okay, the person that will study that about things that are left behind are going to be archaeologists. So make sure you know about archaeologists. Also, make sure that you know about the definition of culture. Okay, the definition of culture is the beliefs, customs, and art of a group. Okay, so make sure you know about culture. Okay, make sure you know that the Old Stone Age is also known as the Paleolithic Age. Also know that the New Stone Age is the Neolithic Age. Okay, but you need to remember why was the shift. I talked about this a few seconds ago. So why the shift? The reason why those early humans shifted from hunters and gatherers to farmers. Let's talk about that for a second. Okay, they started out as a group of people that were hunters and gatherers in the Paleolithic Age. Okay, they discovered through thousands of years of trial and error that they could stick a seed in the ground and poof, stuff starts to grow. Okay, but you got to think it took thousands of years to do that. So once they did that, they discovered that they could domesticate animals. And then they found out, well, we don't really have to move around and migrate like we used to, so we can stay in one spot. So they ended up staying in one spot, which gave them permanent shelter. From that permanent shelter, this big growth of food started, and it made their food supply stable. Stable means steady. It means it was a lot of food, lots and lots of food. When the food started growing, the population grew as well. Make sure you know that. Also, make sure that you know what an inference is. What do we do when we infer? Make sure you know what a primary source is. That's the first-hand account of an event. Make sure you know that one. Also, make sure that you know what are two things that is the beginning of the Old Stone Age and the end. So, from the beginning, we need to say, we can talk about there was stone tools. We can talk about that there was cavemen. We can talk about that they were hominids that migrated. But you really need to get on is that what started it and what was at the beginning and what was at the end of the Old Stone Age. Okay? And then why did those hominids migrate? They needed what? They needed food to eat. So that's why they stayed where they were at. Okay? Did you know how did those early humans get their food? Make sure you know that one. They got their food because they hunted and gathered. Make sure you know that one. Okay? Also know that domestication and farming were discovered in the Neolithic Age. The goods created also led to what other development. Because they started to develop their own food, they had all this stuff, they started to trade among other communities or among other societies. So make sure you know that one. Okay? Also, make sure you know secondary source. That's a second-hand account of an event. An example of a secondary source is the textbooks we use, journal articles, and encyclopedias. Make sure you know that. Okay? Also, make sure that you know about, make sure you also know about the hominids. Okay? There's one thing I told you that there wouldn't be one question about the hominids on there, but there is one hominid on here. It talks about what hominid was the first of hunting groups, developed over 60 tools, buried the dead, and cared for their sick. So we need to make sure that we know that that is going to be Neanderthals. Okay? So they were the first of hunting groups. They developed over 60 tools and buried their dead and cared for their sick. But let me check and make sure that that is right. Okay? So make sure also that you have in there about those hominids. Okay, those hominids are the key. So underneath my desk, are the key to the reason why they are the ones, or those first humans. Yes, I was correct. Make sure that you know that that is Neanderthals. Those are the first group. So make sure they are the first people that hunted in groups. First people that have over 60 tools. Those are going to be those Neanderthals. Okay? You also need to know, you can have a picture of a globe. You can have to tell me which way the lines run from east to west. You can have to tell me which way the lines run from north to south. Okay? If I'm looking to show distance on a map, I'm going to look at the scale. If I'm looking to show direction, it's going to be a compass rose. Okay? Also know that the lands, pieces of land that connects two continents were land bridges. That's how those hominids got from South America to North America. That's how they got around. They traveled on those land bridges. Okay? Two technologies that they created in the Old Stone Age. And let's talk about technologies for a second. Technology is anything that makes life easier. Okay? So if it makes your life easier, it's going to be a new technology. Okay? So two technologies that hominids created in the Old Stone Age. One technology they created were stone tools. The second technology that they developed or created was fire. Okay? Two technologies created in the New Stone Age. We can say farming. We can say domestication. We can say permanent shelter. All of those things we can say are two technologies. Okay? Now, the study of the past. You should know that by now. It's history. Okay? People who are farming crops and taming animals are taking part in agriculture. That's the whole point. Domestication of animals and farming. Agriculture. Okay? The New Stone Age is also known as the Neolithic Age. The Old Stone Age is known as the Paleolithic Age. Primary source, if you're there, you saw it, you wrote it down, primary source. When you train that wild animal to be used by humans, that's domestication. The business of buying and selling or exchanging items is called trade. They traded to get what they needed. They didn't get to produce everything they had, so they had to trade with other stuff. Okay? Trade with other people, not other stuff. Okay? An object that was made or used by humans is called an artifact. On the quiz last time we was kind of sketchy about artifacts, so make sure you know that that is an artifact. It's used by a human. Okay? Also, I believe that's it. Let me see here. You need to know why they decided to stay in permanent shelter. Okay? Early humans developed a new technology of farming that allowed them to grow their own food. You need to know that one. Okay? How they got their food. You need to know the difference. Says Paleolithic hominids were nomads, people who migrated along with their food. What two things did Neolithic hominids do that Paleolithic hominids did not do? So you need to know what the Neolithic hominids did and what those Paleolithic hominids, what they did not do. Okay? So you need to make sure you be able to tell me that one. Okay? Okay? And I believe that's it, peoples. If you follow, you watch this video, and you studied that study guide that we did today while we played the bell game, you should be perfectly fine. Make sure tomorrow that you read the questions completely. Make sure tomorrow that you take your time. Do not rush through the test. You'll have the whole class period to knock out the test. If you have any questions, tomorrow on the bell ringer, I will take questions. Please bring those with you to class tomorrow. And that's about it. So I got to post grades for your project reports that you get tomorrow. So I'll let you go. If you have any questions, just give me a shout out tomorrow, and you'll do final test. I know you will, because I know y'all know the stuff, so show me that you know what you know. So I guess I'll see you tomorrow in class. Have a good evening. Peace.